It is August 1st, which means it is the start of spooky season for so many of us. And to kick off this spooky season, I'm going to use my Cricut to make a fall-themed door hanger, and I'm going to bring you along with me and show you how to do it. Welcome to the Wholesome Haven. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Melissa and I own a small business laser crafting company and I'm a longtime Cricut crafter. So today, to start off this fall season, I wanted to make a beautiful pumpkin fall themed door hanger, and I'm going to show you exactly how I make it.
Okay, so what is a change in season without a cold? So I'm sorry that I sound congested, but the first thing I'm going to do here is get my file ready, and I'll link the file that I used down below. The first thing I'm going to do is ungroup it, and I know that there's some extra pieces down here. There you go. And I deleted those. I did adjust this file on Adobe Illustrator a little bit. I wanted the leaves to have those middle cutouts in them to make them just like a little bit more realistic. But I will link the file down below. And I want to make sure that all of the colors that I have here are the colors that I want to cut them in to make sure that they cut out in the correct colored vinyl. So I want to change these both to yellow and make sure that these are the same color orange, because if you have a different shade of orange, so then it's going to want to cut on a different colored Cricut mat. So I want to make sure that those are all cohesive, and I'll delete this background because I already cut this wood round on my laser. And an important thing for me is I want to make sure that these pumpkin pieces are attached, because I don't want them to be disassembled and then having to assemble them myself. Okay, so then I took the the 12-inch round out of 1/4-inch MDF that I cut, and I sprayed it with just a brown spray paint. This is a Dang spray paint, which you order online, and you don't have to get this spray paint. But I will absolutely link the color and the brand down below. You can get any brown spray paint. The next thing I did was went ahead and cut all the pieces out of my Cricut. You can absolutely do the hack where you put a lot of different colors on one sheet. I actually think that takes the same amount of time, give or take a few minutes. I don't think you're really saving that much time because you have to coordinate where the pieces go, and that takes just about as much time as just cutting the piece anyway. Especially when they're all small pieces, they only take a few minutes to cut, or maybe even a minute. This is really good for scrap busting as well. I had this piece of yellow left over, so I was able to use this, and then the red I was able to use out of my scrap bin. So if you have colors that are close and you don't have the same colors that I use, absolutely just use what you have, and it's really good to use those little pieces that we have laying around. Next, it's time to weed all of the pieces. The vinyl that I used is a mix of Oracal 651 and Cricut permanent vinyl, but I did make sure to use permanent vinyl for all of these pieces because it will be an outdoor sign, so that was important to me. This orange is a little bit old, so it didn't really love sticking to the wood. I think vinyl doesn't love sticking to painted wood anyway, but I think this is technically expired vinyl, so it was a little bit more difficult. But I used this technique that I like to use where I take the scraper and I use the transfer tape and I roll it up the scraper, and it kind of forces the scraper to press down extra hard on the material as the transfer tape is coming up, and it made it to where I was able to stick this down a lot easier. I had to be very patient with it. It did take a long time, but that technique really did help with laying the vinyl down. And once it cures, it is stuck. It does do a really good job adhering. It's just initially getting it down onto the material does take a little bit of time, but this technique really did help to get the vinyl off of the transfer tape and onto the wood. So I went ahead and started sticking down my next pieces. As you can see, I didn't think it through that a brown stem on a brown backer maybe didn't make the most sense. So I decided to go ahead and put the brown vinyl on and see what it looks like at the end. I didn't attach fall, the word fall, in Design Space before I cut it, so the F was a little bit higher. So if you do end up making this file, just make sure that you either attach fall or you're aware and you don't place it as is, because if you do place it as is, then it's going to be a little wonky. So I did decide to go back and fix the brown stem and the brown leaf. I looked at it all together and I decided I did not like those. I had this matte tan color laying around and I was actually able to use some more scraps with this. And I ended up doing some tomfoolery with this to make this work because I did mess up, but I love the layer. So I don't know if you can see it all that well right now, but the stem is underneath the Hello Fall, and I like that layered option. So I aligned these almost as perfectly as I could, and then I had to use my weeding tool to lift up this edge of Hello, and then I had to lift up these little bits of Fall, and because it didn't cure yet, it was easy to pick up these pieces, but it stuck to the vinyl, so then I had to cut out the vinyl. So this is absolutely doable. And I've been working with vinyl for so long that I felt very confident in my skills that I could make this work. But if you do end up, just make sure that you do it with correct colors the first time. I think if I did this again, I may actually have done the backer maybe a tan color instead of the brown. But I actually did love what the tan looks like. And I'm not sure if the tan would have looked better with the yellow and the brown and the reds. So I'm not sure. Maybe I would make this again just to see if it does look better with a beige tan colored background. But if you do make it with a beige tan background, definitely send it to me because I would love to see what this looks like with that. The last thing we need to do is create a hanging mechanism for this. My choice was just to hot glue some twine on the back. There are a lot of different ways you can do this. You can do a sawtooth hanger, you can nail some screws in there. This is just for me in my home, so I opted for an easier decision, and it's a small, lightweight sign, so I wasn't worried about the hot glue not holding up. Another topic with door signs would be sealing. I'm not going to seal this because I live in Vegas and it doesn't rain here and I have a covered porch, so I don't have to worry about the heat fading it at all. So if I were going to seal it, I would just use a matte clear coat. Usually like a 2X Rust-Oleum matte clear coat is totally fine. That's my go-to. You could use a lacquer. I wouldn't use a polyurethane because those tend to yellow. And here's our sign. I am super happy with it. If you liked this video, please like, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more of my crafts, go ahead and follow me on Instagram.